Paul Graham's Startup Advice for the Lazy. Paul Graham is a renowned programmer and wildly successful venture capitalist. If you're short on time, we've cropped the most important pieces from his essays. Organic startup ideas. Ask yourself, what do you wish someone would make for you? Focus more on the idea part and less on the startup part. Don't be discouraged if what you produce initially is something that other people dismiss as a toy. There's nothing more valuable than an unmet need that is just becoming fixable. How to get startup ideas. The very best startup ideas tend to have three things in common. There is something the founders themselves want, that they themselves can build, and that few others realize are worth doing. You should only work on problems that exist. You can either build something a large number of people want in a small amount, or something a small number of people want in a large amount. Choose the latter. It is even better when you're both a programmer and the target user. It's exceptionally rare for startups to be killed by competitors. So rare that you can almost discount the possibility. A crowded market is actually a good sign, because it means both there's a demand and that none of the existing solutions are good enough. Do things that don't scale. Start to recruit users manually, then gradually switch to less manual methods. You can't wait for users to come to you. You have to go out and get them. We encourage every startup to measure their progress weekly. Tim Cook doesn't send you a handwritten note after you buy a laptop. He can't, but you can. That's the advantage of being small. You can provide a level of service no big company can. A consulting-like technique for recruiting initially lukewarm users is to use your software yourselves on their behalf. We did that at ViaWeb. Since we would do anything to get users, we did. Instead of organizing big strategic e-commerce partnerships, we were trying to sell luggage and pens and men's shirts. But in retrospect, it was exactly the right thing to do. Startup equals growth. A startup is a company designed to grow fast. Things that kill startups. Being a single founder, bad location, hiring bad programmers and choosing the wrong platform, slowness in launching too early, spending too much, sacrificing users to profit, a half-hearted effort, and so much more. The hardest lessons for startups to learn. Number 1, release early and keep pumping out features. Users love a site that's constantly improving. They'll like you even better when you improve in response to their comments, because customers are used to companies ignoring them. Number 2, fear the right things. Way more startups hose themselves than get crushed by competitors. There are lots of ways to do it, but the three main ones are internal disputes, inertia, and ignoring customers. Number 3, commitment is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't have to be the right kind of determined, though. You have to be determined, but flexible. Number 4, there is always room. The reason we don't see the opportunities all around us is that we adjust to however things are and assume that how things have to be. Number 5, don't get your hopes up. It's okay to be optimistic about what you can do, but assume the worst about machines and other people. Number 6, speed, not money. How to convince investors. Convince yourself that your startup is worth investing in. If it isn't, don't try to raise money. But if it is, you'll be telling the truth. To evaluate whether your startup is worth investing in, you have to be a domain expert and to know everything about your market. Founders think of startups as ideas, but investors think of them as markets. If there are X number of customers who'd pay an average of Y dollars per year for what you're making, then the total addressable market, or TAM, of your company is $XY. Your market has to be big indeed. It's often better to start in a small market that will either turn into a big one or from which you can move into a big one. How to present to investors. Number 1, explain what you're doing. Number 2, get to demo quickly. Number 3, better a narrow description than a vague one. Number 4, don't talk and drive. Have someone talk while another uses the computer. As long as you're standing near the audience and looking at them, politeness and habit compel them to pay attention to you. Number 5, don't talk about secondary matters at length. If you only have a few minutes, spend them explaining what your product does and why it's great. Number 6, don't get too deeply into the business models. Number 7, talk slowly and clearly at the audience. Number 8, seem confident, but don't try to seem more than you are. Number 9, don't put too many words on slides. Number 10, specific about numbers are good. Number 11, tell stories about users. Number 12, make a soundbite stick in their heads. In the startup world, there's usually the X of Y. Which of Paul Graham's ideas do you find the most helpful? Let us know in the comments below.